Hey everybody, today it's Paul from ScreenwritingScribe, and today we're going to be creating more characters for my web series called Galactic Frontiers. It's a cross sort of between Star Trek and sort of like maybe Warhammer 40K, something that I haven't seen very much in the space around us. So I wanted to really focus on sort of exploration, but also still have some military stuff as well too. I thought that would be pretty cool. So the way that I'm using this right now is I'm using a program called Prewrite. So the first script that you do on Prewrite is free. Then if you like the program, you can create multiple scripts with it. And Prewrite, again, is a program that helps you sort of organize your thoughts. I actually like using Prewrite better than I like Final Draft just because of how I can organize things. And I'm hoping to do a video that shows you the difference between what you can do in Prewrite and what you can do in Final Draft. This is a lot easier to do and stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep working on some characters and stuff like that so I can show you what kind of work I've done so far. So the first one I've done is Captain Quinn. Now the reason why I like using Prewrite is because it's really easy to use. It gives you some easy names. It can give you an archetype. Now you don't necessarily need to use this. But you have some nice questions to ask yourself, sort of what are the important details about this character? What does the character want? How will the character attempt to get it? What's the need for the character? How will your character realize it's gotten its need? And notes, and then you can include any images. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, like I said, step by step as how we create the third character. And this is going to be the genetic soldier. So the first thing I want to let you know is I sort of used AI to help plan this particular story out. So let me show you where I did that. So what I ended up doing was using ChatGPT to help create different types of characters. Now, the big thing about using ChatGPT when you're creating any type of brainstorm is it's going to give you the most generic things possible. And so what I ended up doing with ChatGPT was asking it to create something that was different. And so I kept prompting it, kept prompting it. And you can sort of see it's a very long prompt from what I worked on with it. We went from episodes and stuff like that, as well as looking at different characters and character arcs and stuff like that. In the beginning, it basically gave me what you would typically see in any sort of standard sci-fi novel. And now I'm not saying genetically altered soldiers are going to be anything in particular that's unique to my universe, but I wanted something that got my brain going, something different than just having traditionally when I think of a genetically altered soldier or sort of the security officer, I sort of think of Lieutenant Worf from Star Trek. And I wanted something, so I'm going to ask Midjourney to sort of help me with this and to sort of give me an idea of what this character can look like. So I'm going to pop over to Midjourney and sort of let's take a look and see what this character may or may not look like. So let's go do that. So right now I'm in Midjourney right now, and I use the web version of this. And I do have a paid subscription for full disclosure. So we're going to look for, I'm going to ask it to help me create a character that's a genetically altered soldier, that there's something different about him or something that's very unique about him, and give them some reference images. So let's take a look and let's type a couple things in and see what Midjourney gives us. All right, so I basically said a genetically altered soldier who's the security officer for this ship. Let me put officer. I want an appearance that shows us that he is more than human, but still human, and still enough human that we know that he's been augmented by some sort of genetic experiment. And so the nice thing about this too is I can use reference images. So I'm going to use some reference images that we have here. I'm going to use some stuff from, let's see here. My captain is this gentleman here. We're going to use him for a reference image. And so let's see what Midjourney thinks about a genetically altered soldier. All right, I sort of like some of these images. They're interesting. I'm going to do let's vary this image here a little bit and see if we can have something a little different. See, I sort of really like this particular image. I'm thinking, why don't we change his skin color a little bit, or let's give him some sort of other ability that would be really neat. So let's ask ChatGPT, what are some things that we could do to create a security officer that is a little different than normal, and have some physical traits we can use. So let's go to ChatGPT and ask it that. All right, so I'm just asking ChatGPT, what are some different things? Glowing eyes with unusual pupils, subdermal circuit patterns, interesting, increased muscle density, enhanced hearing implants, enhanced rapid healing skin, bioluminescence veins. Ooh, I like sort of that, or metallic or I like the metallic and iridescent hair, enhanced jawline and teeth. That might not be a bad one too. Finger pads with sensitive, subtle facial symmetry, strikingly symmetric, often unnerving, perfect. I actually like, let's do some iridescent hair and also bioluminescent veins. Cool. I like a lot of these different designs and stuff like that. I sort of like the bioluminescence. I'm trying to think of let's do maybe some very subtle stuff. I think I sort of like this one a little better, so let's do a little bit of that. All right, so these are some different, I like some of these different things. I think I'm going to go with this right here. So let's take a look at this image. Perfect. I like that he's got sort of that red hair, metallic hair, and like I said, I like how they have the bioluminescence in the veins. And so you can sort of see that there's something different about him. And in terms of making that for an actor and stuff like that, that shouldn't be too hard to do. But I really like that sort of ability to see that there's something different about him. That subtlety that allows us to know that he's more than just human. So let's take this and save the image and take it over to Prewrite. Now, the one thing about Prewrite is you do have to change your PNG images to JPEGs. All right, so we're ready to talk about our person here. I'm going to browse my files. We have one for security. There we go. And see, it's easy as that. So we have our security officer right here. So we can just come up with a name. Maybe I'm going to ask ChatGPT to help me with a sort of a name for him. All right, so I asked it to tell me 10 different names. I sort of like Lex. I like the first name, so maybe Lex Forge. I mean, that sort of looks pretty cool. You know, or Jackson Creed. I don't know if I like Jackson. I think Lex. No, maybe, how about Ryland Forge? Let's go with Ryland Forge. Ryland Forge. So that's what we typed, Ryland Forge. So he's going to be pretty young. I'm going to say that so the war had started. So it's been about 5 years since the Civil War that has ended. He's going to be a human. And I'm going to say that he is, I'm going to go with white for right now. Gender, he's going to be male. Archetype, there's a bunch of different options for this we can pick. I think he is going to be, so let's pick something that's not necessarily what you would expect from a security officer. Let's sort of take a look at some of the different options here and sort of see if there's something. Let's say he's very judgmental. Let's go with he's a judge. He judges a lot of people as to whether they're worthy or not, and maybe that's the reason why he went to become why he became a genetically altered soldier, so he was better than everybody else, and so he continues to judge other people. So let's make him 35. I'm just going to pick a age here. We'll just pick an age and it'll say 35. Now, actually, let's go 28. I think so again, as we think of the different things, so what I do in terms of thinking when I look at the question synopsis, what are some important details about this character? So I sort of, at this point, explain who genetically altered soldiers are, what their sort of position within this particular universe is. And then after that, we're going to talk about him specifically. What does he want? And then how is our character going to get it? And so as I go through each of these, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about sort of what my thought processes is. So what's some important details about this character? So let's talk a little bit about his archetype in that he's a judge. And so I think the reason why he joined the genetically altered soldiers was so that he could show how much better he was than everybody else. So he's a little bit arrogant. So let's say let's go with some arrogance. So let me write a little bit of this, and we'll talk about this after I get done writing a little bit. So right now I talked a little bit about his important details. I said he was arrogant. The reason that he joined the genetically altered soldier program was to show his deadbeat parents that he could become something, and he was better than them, and he was better than the neighborhood he grew up. He always has a big chip on his shoulders. Now, I sort of know some of this sort of sounds cliche, so I'm trying to think of some other things that are about him that are sort of different than what you would normally expect from a security officer. I don't want to sort of say that he helps with, I don't want to say he always protects the weak and stuff like that, because again, I think that's typically what you would expect. But maybe he is good at trying to, but maybe he tends to be hard on people because he knows that's the best way. That was how he found success, and that is how other people can find success. So he's always pushing people. So I think that's a good, and it goes along with who he is as a character. So he's always pushing people. He doesn't defend people. He thinks it's important that they sort of figure out on their own how to do stuff. So I think that's a good sort of in details about who Rylan is. So what does he really want? So maybe, so an interesting thing about Ryland, I think he really wants to be the best. I think that's something that he always is shooting for. He's very much a perfectionist. And so we'll see how, and I think the way that he's going to attempt to get it is to try to become one of the first genetically altered soldiers to actually get command of a ship. Which is something that doesn't happen very often. They're normally relegated to following orders, but he wants to show that he has the intellect, the ability to run a starship and get people to work for him. So I think what he really wants is to be a captain of a starship. Now, how will he attempt to do this? By doing his job better than anybody else can, always going above and beyond, and also being, and also trying to make sure that he's in situations where he can get command to show how good he is in command. So he's always going to be looking to see if he can lead an away mission. He's always going to be looking to see how he can take command, which is going to get very annoying for the other characters. But I think it's something that would really fit with him because he wants to be the best of the best. And one of the ways that he can do that, again, is being that starship captain. So the next thing as we think about our character, what does Rylan really need? We know what he wants to be. I think what... in terms of what the character actually needs, I think you can sort of see what the symptom is. So the character really wants to be in control of things. So what I think he really needs either a relationship. So he needs a relationship with somebody else, or something so that someone has to rely on him. He wants somebody to rely on him, whether it's a child, whether it's a spouse, or it's a best friend, but he's always looking for someone. The need is that he needs someone to rely on him. So the interesting thing about this, so since he wants someone to really rely on him, he's going to be very controlling because people aren't going to like him because he's going to be very controlling. He's going to try to control the other person because he wants the other person to solely rely on them. So that way he gets sort of all the glory, so that he's the one that feels like he's making a difference for them. In some sense, like I said, it's helping control the situation. I think the thing that's going to drive him nuts is if he's in a situation where he doesn't know what to do or how to handle it. I think that's going to be an interesting thing for him to try to handle. So maybe we'll throw him into an episode where things get out of control or stuff beyond his ability to do. You know, as well as genetically altered he is, he can do a lot of things. But what if there's something that he can't do? And how is he going to figure stuff out besides just relying on his genetics? He's got to rely on his smarts, which he thinks he's really good at. But what happens if he has someone who's trying to help him learn or help him to figure stuff out, and he's got to work together with somebody else? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see if he has trouble working with others. So I think I'm going to put that in as the miscellaneous. All right, so the other thing cool is I can add some other different images of him or just some of the other things that he could be doing and stuff like that. So we created another character. So this is a great way, again, to use Prewrite in order to create your character. And I'm going to be doing this for a number of my characters and stuff, so you can come back and watch the progress we've made in other characters. So I hope this again shows you how easy it is to sort of brainstorm using ChatGPT, Prewrite, Midjourney to help you sort of craft the characters for your web series, your film, your book, your novel, to give you that inspiration to help you write that particular story. Because I think that's the important thing about these tools, is it helps you craft the story. And as you see, the way that I was using AI and stuff like that was I was given an idea. I didn't take it lock, stock, and barrel. Maybe except for the name, but everything else I was like, okay, so what else would be cool? What else would look good? What are some things that would make this person unique? Because I think when we use AI, we have to realize that that a lot of stuff is very bland and generic, and we really don't want that because we've seen what bland and generic do to movies. So keep following our journey here, or like I said, do you have any questions about Prewrite? What does your own story look like? I invite you again, take a look at Prewrite and see how you can begin to create that outline for your story. And again, you can use fade in to write your story or final draft, but I just find this is a great brainstorming idea to sort of figure out how to create. I just really like Prewrite because it allows me to create that story, to help get that outline, to give me a feel for who and what the story is about. Till the next video, live well and write well.